Hey everybody, welcome to my Suburban Oasis. My name is Soleil and I garden in a Zone 6A in mid-Michigan. It is a gorgeous day out today and I thought it was a perfect time to come out and show you around the garden and do a garden tour because we're starting to see some of the spring take place here. Now the weather has been really crazy. Honestly, it has been up and down and we've had really strong winds, and so you'll see some of the things that have happened in the garden as well as some of the wonderful things that are coming up right now. All right, let's get going. So starting right here in the potager, I am delighted to show you my tete-a-tete daffodils, which basically means face-to-face in French. They're very small and ideally cute and wonderful front of the border plants as well. We have some other daffodils that are coming up in this garden bed, but you can see the Virginia are still looking amazing, and I'm going to be doing some dividing and propagating of that soon because I have some areas that I'd like to fill in with that. I really love the way that it looks along the edge of the border. We do have one bright yellow daffodil happening right here, which is just gorgeous. Daffodils are so cheery and such a wonderful harbinger of spring, aren't they? Well, over in this garden bed, we're beginning to see some new growth on the foxgloves that are dotted throughout this garden bed, and the daffodils are coming up. And we even see some very small blue flowers, which are called scilla or Siberian squill, that are buds that are getting ready to open. Those do a really nice job of naturalizing and can be really beautiful in mass. It's so nice to see the sunshine, isn't it? Over here in this planter, we actually have rhubarb coming up right now, so that's very exciting to see. I cannot wait to begin harvesting that. We do have some kale also that overwintered in this garden bed. Lots of branches are starting to show buds for leaves, and it makes me a little nervous because it's very, very early for them to be coming up. We have some hyacinths all throughout this garden bed that are starting to poke up. I do see that there must be a bunny rabbit that is a baby because they came through and tried one of the hyacinths and then spit it out, realizing that it really isn't good. We have some big buds starting to open on this blueberry plant. Again, this very early opening in March is not great. Usually we have our last frost date in mid-May here. So we have a couple of months left to go, and I definitely think we're going to see even some freeze damage on some of the shrubs. You can see how many daffodils we have that are coming up in this garden bed. It's absolutely wonderful. I can't wait until they begin to bloom. It's going to be amazing. You can see here on this 9-bark, for example, it's really starting to push those leaves out. And look at this beautiful hellebore. This is Anna's red, and it's just going to look gorgeous when all of those open. We really filled out this area with daffodils this last year. Another early perennial that starts coming up in early spring is lungwort or pulmonaria. And these you can just start to see surfacing here all along the edge. And we have our Penny's pink hellebore that is just starting to come up. Now this is in quite a bit of shade, so it is still working on opening, but it is going to be gorgeous. It's one of my favorite. We also see the buds on the pieris starting to open up, so let me show you one of those. This one is the Scarlet O'Hara, and this one has white blooms on it. And it is simply beautiful. I would say it's maybe about a third of the way open right now. I'm hoping that we don't lose these blooms to a freeze because I would love to see this in full bloom. Pieris are just such a wonderful shade plant. They do well in dry shade as well. And so yes, we have hellebores all throughout that are just really trying to get open. Now I have some that are over here in much more full sun. And so you can see their blooms really, really well right now. This is Pink Frost. This is part of a gold series. And they are so short, but beautiful and delicate looking, even though they are oh so tough and handle some of the most serious cold weather and brutal temperatures. Isn't that gorgeous? Now we have some other pieris that are throughout these back garden beds that are starting to bloom as well. These are the Valley Rose, and the Valley Rose have a little bit more of a pink coloration to the blossoms that they have, and you can see they're still just opening. Another beautiful hellebore over here. This one is a no-name hellebore. This one actually I picked up at Home Depot for about, I think this one was maybe $4.97 or something like that last year, but it's so gorgeous. I just love the way that it's colored pink on one side and white on the inside. The rhododendrons are looking really great right now. I have a project to kind of fill back in behind some of these plants where the fence kind of added about a foot behind what the bed was when we had that fence replaced. So there's a big drop off there. And I've just been kind of slowly trying to add some compost to fill that in. And I started down over there and will make my way through, but then I'll cover it up with some shredded hardwood mulch. I've used leaves, whatever kind of garden debris that I can get my hands on that will help fill that space is what I'm doing. Now down here we have another pulmonaria. This one is pink, a blue, and this one has some gorgeous, beautiful blue blooms. They actually kind of start off a pink color and then, no, they start off blue and then they fade to pink, I think. I think that's the direction they go in. And then we have another beautiful pulmonaria that is starting to bloom over here, which is Raspberry Splash. This one probably is one of my favorites just because the color of the blooms is so different. It has a little bit of a coral color to it when they first open. And these are just smothered in buds right now. You can see all the little teeny tiny buds on these that are going to open. And they will look so beautiful. So wonderful. Such a nice early flowering plant. And we have some more Virginia back here that probably could be divided as well. So I may take advantage of that to spread about. Let's see what we have here. This is a hellebore. I'm not sure which one this is. This might be Anna's Red as well. Nope, this is Frost Kiss Charmer. So this one is going to be a deep red, and it's working its way open as well. Then we have Dana's Dolcet over here, which is a little bit more of like a chocolatey color when it opens. And you can almost see that chocolatey color on the stems as well. It's interesting to me because the blooms, the stems, and the leaves all seem to have the same hues. If they flower pink, they all kind of have pink hues. If they flower white, they have white hues. So it's just something interesting to note. If a plant doesn't have blooms on them at the time, that might be something that could help you identify what color the flowers will be. We're just starting to get some tiny, tiny snowdrop blooms. Aren't they cute? I love snowdrops. They're so dainty. And I can't wait to have more of them. I hope they naturalize well. I just planted these last fall, so I'm so glad to see them come up. You just never know what's going to get dug up or eaten in my garden. Speaking of which, the rabbits have really done a number on my heucheras this year and trimmed most of them for me. For example, these black pearl heucheras, you can hardly tell what they are supposed to be because they have eaten all of the leaves around them, but they did not eat the top of the crown off, so I'm hoping they will grow back just fine. We have some more daffodils coming up over here, and more valley pieris with the pretty blooms starting. Now these pieris are supposed to get several feet tall, so they should really fill out this area, and won't it be a magnificent sight when they start to get closer to each other and have a much larger presence in the garden. I think that's going to be wonderful. We also added daffodils in this garden bed last year, so hopefully we'll be seeing some of those soon also. Let's take a peek in the way back. So you can see, based on the post hole digging along the fence line here, we have some really heavy clay soil that is there. But other than that, things are looking pretty good back here. We've got lots of daffodils coming up. We have some pulmonaria that is coming through the leaves right now. And I think this is a snowdrop cluster. We have some chinodoxa coming up right here, which is a little blue and white flower. And some hellebores starting up here, along with more daffodils. We have some snowdrops over here on this side. And some more right here. Hopefully they will just kind of line along this path as they go. And we're starting to see some other things, you know, pop up along here. Like the vinca is just starting to put out some of the tiny blue blooms that it does every year in the springtime. This one is about to just burst open. Look at all of those little buds. And then we have some beautiful hellebores at the top of the hill here that you can see behind the witch hazel trees. So we are actually starting to get, you know, some things that are looking more and more like a garden and less like kind of a big messy hill. And the baby hellebores that we planted back here last year will not bloom this year. They definitely have at least one more year to go. We do get quite a few wild violets, these little purple ones. They spread a lot. But back here, I don't mind that. I just think they're beautiful back here. We have some bright new foliage coming up on this hellebore, and then some foxgloves that are planted along in here. The Brunnera is also starting to pop up back here. It's been really well insulated by the leaves, and it's definitely popping forth. And some more lungwort. So this, I feel like, is going to look really different this year than it did last year, and I'm really excited to see this hill as a garden. All right, let's take a head up and we will go along the long border and see what's happening. So a couple years ago, I took some cuttings of forsythia and planted them in the ground, and now I have some very small baby forsythia bushes that are actually going to bloom this year. It took them 2 years to get to that point, but I'm really excited to see them because they will continue to grow. And we have lots of daffodils along this area as well. So more to come in the next few weeks as things begin to change quite a bit more this time of year. These limoncello barberries are doing great right now. They are kind of glowing in the sunshine. It is just beautiful. But it's a lot of leaves, and we're probably 2 months to our frost date yet, frost-free date, so that's not the greatest thing. And this viburnum puts out these gorgeous, gorgeous flowers if they don't get frozen off, but that's definitely a very real risk this year. You can see the rabbits really ravaged my heucheras in this area. But hopefully that will have given them a good trim and they'll be ready to come back rip-roaring for me this year. We've got some nice new fresh growth on these lemon false mophead cypresses. I will trim them back just to keep their size small, and then they fill out again every year. And it's just a really easy plant to keep in shape if you want to. They can get quite large otherwise. We have lots of alliums that are coming up, and sedums. And I'm even seeing lots of buds on the clematis this year already. This forsythia is just ready to bloom. It is on the verge of having a magnificent flowering performance. So I hope to share with you some photos and videos of that as well. And the iris reticulata that are in this garden bed are so pretty. They're just such a nice deep purple. Let's head out into the front garden. This part of the garden does definitely still need to have a cleanup, but I'm excited to show that this azalea did not get eaten by any deer so far. So there are lots of buds on it, and so hopefully we'll get some nice blooms. And I need to clean up this fern. That way I can make room for this azalea to have its blooms on it. But who would have thought that we would have so much growth and need to do so much cleanup in the garden this time of year. We have some gorgeous iris reticulata here in some clumps as well. And pretty soon I'll be taking the evergreen boughs out of the garden, but probably not for several more weeks, because we have quite a bit of time to go before things are really going to be filling out. We have lots of daffodils just coming up everywhere that are ready to bloom, but not quite yet. So we'll be watching those over the next few weeks. But the glossy foliage of the boxwoods in this garden bed do shine and look lovely in this spring weather. We have some daffodils putting out some buds, but over here we also have some of that scilla or Siberian squill with these beautiful little blue flowers. They come as a bulb that you can order and plant, and they just make a really cute ground cover this time of year. The color is stunning, and I would call it a true blue. I've been doing some cleanup in this front sun garden bed over here, but I still need to get after the bobo hydrangeas and the sedums. We are seeing lots of daffodils come up in this garden bed as well. We have some allium schubertii, which are like those big fireworks ones. I love them. I'm so excited to see those every year. And we also have lots of allium in here that are the purple sensation that are starting to come up. We have mums starting to come up, and the Veronica. So much green growth happening. We have some daisies. Such an exciting time of year. And I do love the gloss and glow of these variegated boxwoods. They haven't started to put on their new growth yet, The new growth does tend to be non-variegated at first, and then it changes over time as the leaves age. I do kind of hope to be able to take some cuttings of them this year, hopefully to propagate. We'll see if they grow enough for me to actually do that. Over here, this new garden bed is doing great. We planted lots of daffodils in clumps, and I can see them just starting to come up throughout the garden bed. And I am excited to report that the oak leaf hydrangea that is over here did make itself get through the winter. This one is the Gatsby Moon, and it could turn out to be one of my favorite oak leaf hydrangeas. I love the way the blooms look on it. I'm not sure we'll get blooms the first year that it's in the garden, but I can't wait to see the first ones. We have lots of hellebores in this garden bed that I have spoken about, and they're all really in initial stages of bloom. This one is the Maid of Honor from the Honeymoon series. Not quite open yet. This one is Paris in Pink, also from the Honeymoon series. Just gorgeous veining on this one. Purple, pink, and limey green colors. And then we have Moon Dance in the back here, which is going to be more of a white green color. And this one is just a free one that grew from seeds. Self-seeders, we get lots of those. And I'm always a fan of replanting the volunteers as much as I can. And here we have the beautiful speckled variety that I divided this last fall, and it came back really well for me. Isn't that pretty? Just gorgeous. The lighter color really stands out this time of year, and it glows quite spectacularly in the sun. And this one back here looks amazing. I forget the name of this one, but it's one of the first ones that they bred to be able to actually be more of an upright hellebore bloom than facing down. And it's finally starting to put out more blooms for me, and it's just gorgeous. Ivory Prince, that's what that one's called, Ivory Prince. Whew, it actually feels really warm at 70 degrees today. And we do have some daffodils over here that are blooming. They are so cheery. Here they are. Sometimes it only takes a couple of days for the garden to change a lot, and I'm expecting lots of change over the next couple of weeks. But I do see, again, temperatures that are going to dip. One of the big changes that did happen in the garden recently because of the crazy temperatures is our neighbors took down this giant maple tree that was here, which is going to add a lot of sunshine to the yard. We had a big branch come down and it whacked our house, and they actually had it taken down like the next day. It was dying anyways. Turned out it had a pressure crack in it, according to the guy who took it down. But so that really makes this area feel a lot more open right now and very sunny. So that's a very big change to the look of the garden. But that maple tree that I planted is going to continue to grow and fill in and will be about 35 feet tall. After this experience, I've actually kind of questioned myself whether, I really wanted to keep that size of a maple tree. But right now I'm keeping it. Might change my mind later, but right now we're going to have a maple tree there, an autumn blaze maple tree that will show really nice red color in the fall. Well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this little garden tour in the middle of March, just to show you what's going on and what's coming. And I'm really excited about spring. I don't know about you, but this is an exciting time of year for gardeners, I think everywhere, as we get to watch all of the things that we've been waiting for spring back to life. So thanks for joining me today. Let me know in the comments anything that you want to share about what you're seeing in your garden right now and what zone you're in. All right, I'll see you next time. Bye!